My name is Jenny. Welcome to my channel, JK Star 88 Reader. Today I'm doing a Friday book video. Instead of a Friday Reads video, this is a Friday book video. I will definitely be reading a couple of the books in this video, but this is mostly what can be considered a book haul. The first portion of the book haul will be books that I have acquired over a few years, and the second part of the book haul will be books that I have acquired over the last week or so. So let's get going. First, the books that I plan to read this long weekend that we have in Canada. And so the first one, it is The Great Believers by Rebecca Mackay. So I started reading this book actually yesterday as I am filming this video, and I am on page 12 or 13, I believe. I have to check that. But anyways, this book, it takes place in the queer community in Chicago in the 1980s, which is during the HIV/AIDS pandemic. Epidemic, I mean. With COVID on my mind, it's easy to mix up words, but it was the HIV/AIDS epidemic. Anyways, this is a hard-hitting story, but is told with a bit of humor and sarcasm as part of a way to delve into a difficult subject and the troublesome lives of the characters who are having to deal with grief of loved ones passing away. So, yeah. And the next book that I have as part of books that I will be reading this weekend, this book is How We Fall Apart by Katie Zhao. Zhao, that's how I would pronounce it. But I have shown this book in the past. This was in a previous video, but at that time it was still fresh from the library, but I've held on to this book for a few weeks now, and it will soon be due back, and so I want to finally get around to reading this. And this is a YA title that looks at a student at a prep school who somehow has ended up as a ghost, and she must find out who has actually done her harm. It could be any one of the 4 friends she has made. So yeah. So this next portion of the video is I am showing you a collection of books that I have acquired over the years, and this is my Stephen King book collection. So first off, I have Misery by Stephen King, which was from 1987. And so this is a book that I read in the summer in preparation for seeing a theater adaptation of the play. I saw the theater adaptation, and I can say that the play, it has a more positive and cheerier note than the book itself. The book I found a little bit more cynical, and so anyways, the book it follows the story of Paul, who is a writer. He is driving in rural Colorado and ends up in an accident, and there comes Annie, who lives alone on a farm, and she rescues him, telling him that she is her #1 fan. There is something strange about Annie, and I guess that is all I can say, but this is a suspenseful tale that has been made into a movie, a musical, and now a theater production where I live. And so, yeah, I enjoyed reading this book. It was a better read than I thought it would be, because I really did not like Carrie, Stephen King's debut novel. So I look forward to reading more books by Stephen King, and I'll show you the other books that I have in my collection that are by Stephen King. This next book, it is Pet Cemetery. So I have had this book for a while now, and last time I read to page 76, around there, and I found this to be a tale that draws you in, I guess. It is a book about grief and sudden loss, and it follows a young child who is in search of pets who have gone missing, and somehow that leads to a very, I guess, heart-wrenching tale. I still don't know what will be how this story unfolds. It is a bit of a mystery to me, and so I will find out once I get around to reading the rest of this book. The next book I have in my Stephen King book collection, it is The Shining, which I also started reading and got to about page 50. It is about, I guess, a writer who has gotten into trouble and now has taken his family to live in a rural place in Colorado. And so for some reason, Colorado seems to be a place where Stephen King has set a couple of his novels. And so this seems to be an interesting place for him. And so this is a story. I'm only 50 pages in, and I have to read the rest to see how it goes. But I hear from a few places that this is a gut-wrenching story, and it certainly has started out to be, I guess, stomach-churning drama. So the next book that I have to show you, it is Gunslinger, just the first book in the Dark Tower series that I've heard about a lot from other readers. I just had the first volume, which I saw one day at the supermarket, I believe, and I was immediately drawn to it because at that time I was thinking about reading more westerns, and this is the closest to a western at that time that appealed to me. And so, yeah, I have this book, and I have not started it yet, but it is will be part of my collection for a while, as I do plan to getting around to reading it. So the next book, it is my most recent addition to my Stephen King book collection. It is Salem's Lot, which was released years ago, I believe in the 70s. And so this is an earlier tale, yes, 1975. And so I've seen different editions of this book, but ultimately I decided to go with this mass paperback edition because that was what they had at the store. And so I now have this, and it is there will be there waiting for me once I get around to reading it, as I say about so many of these books. And so here's one more book, and this is a graphic novel as part of the Dark Tower series of books, or series of graphic novels. And as I said, I have the Gunslinger book 1 in the series, and I have yet to read that series. And because of that, I still have not read this graphic novel, although it's been with me for a while now, and it's still in the plastic flap. I have not opened for the very reason that I have not read any of the books in the Dark Tower series, and I want to read those before I actually delve into this graphic novel. I received this some time ago in some sort of prize that I won. So yeah. So this next set of books is part my recently acquired books. So this is a recently acquired book haul, and so the first book that I have to show you is a middle grade book. This book is Beaches and Croc Harry by Lawrence Hill. Lawrence Hill is a well-regarded author in Canada. He is one of the more prolific black authors who is won many awards from the Canadian literary scene, and this book follows Beatrice. It is his first middle grade book, and it follows a young Beatrice who one day wakes up in living in a treehouse and has to find a way to get along with her new neighbors, including a crocodile who talks. And so far I am enjoying this story. It is a whimsical tale, and is and a lot of the story is a play with words and vocabulary, and I find that to be very interesting, as it's inventive in the uses of vocabulary and exploring the world of words that may not be typical in someone's day-to-day use of language. But I find it to be a very interesting read. And so, yeah. Lawrence Hill mostly has written books for adult audiences, and a lot of the books deal with heavier subjects such as migration and having refugee uncertain statuses, as well as delving into historical times of slavery. There are a number of books that he's published, and I have had the chance to read a few of them. So yeah. The next book I have to show you, it is Tomorrow in Shanghai by Mei Lee Chai. So this is a short story collection that I've been wanting to have in my collection since I've heard about it while one time I was online. And so this is a book about people who have moved away from their place of origin and have found new places to live in the West, and mostly the United States. And there somehow they find themselves wanting to see the places of maybe their own origin, or the origin of their older family members, I guess ancestors. An exploration of place and identity, and wanting to find a place of belonging in a connected world. Yeah. And so this is a subject that is close to me, as it's is something that I have to grapple with as second generation Chinese Canadian. So yeah, this will be a bit of a maybe emotional and read for me, but I look forward to reading it. Yeah. The next book that I have to show you, it is another book that I acquired as part of my recent book haul. This is To Sleep in a Sea of Stars by Christopher Paolini. And so this is a book that I have talked about in previous videos, and one that I've been meaning to get around to. As you have seen in this video, I have many books that are in mass market paperback format. I have them because although I do have this book in a hardcover version, I prefer to have mass market paperbacks as they are easier to take along on the various trips that I take around the city using public transit. And so I like to be able to put this in a bag and take along whenever I have the chance I can read while on the bus or at different coffee shops that I frequent. So yeah. The next book that I'll show you is this book I've been wanting to be part of my collection for a while now, and this book is Descendant of the Crane by Joan He. Joan He. So I've been wanting to get a physical copy of this book for a while now. This is the newest edition of this book, and that I've been was not lucky to able to get while on a recent trip to a bookstore. But this book has been around for a few years now, and I believe there is an audiobook version that is on Spotify, but I don't use that service that often, so I'm glad to be able to get this new physical edition as part of my collection. Joan He has a new book out that will be published at the end of October called Strike the Zither, which is this first book in a series that is inspired by Romance of the Three Kingdoms, which is a classic legend from is a classic literature from China. And I actually I'm looking across the room at a DVD box set, one of the film productions of the Romance of the Three Kingdoms that have been China has produced. And my dad is a frequent consumer of the many Asian video stores around town over the years, and was able to acquire a box set that I would like to start as soon as I can, seeing the DVD version, one of the film versions that are out there, alongside with reading the new series by Joan He, which I will do my best to patiently wait as the all the books are published in that series by Joan He. Finally, I have one more book to show you, and this is a book that I pre-ordered and was able to get at my local post office. And so this book is Foul Lady Fortune, which is a book, and I guess I'm not sure if it's a standalone or a book, part of a book series, but it is the latest book by Chloe Gong that is set in 1920s and 30s Shanghai. And so, like previous, a little before this spot in the video, I showed a book called Tomorrow in Shanghai, and one of my projects is to read as many books as possible about books that are set in Shanghai that are written in the English language. And so this is my the latest one in my collection that I am looking forward to reading. I have yet to actually read the first two books in these Violent Delights duology that Chloe Gong published before this title. So they are waiting for me on my shelf to read, but I am glad to add this to my reading list of books that are set in Shanghai, written in the English language. Okay, that is it for me for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you again sometime soon. Bye!